Well, okay. So over the past week, I have reconfigured the system, put a new wire in, which is 20 thousandths of an inch in diameter. I was using 25 thousandths. Now I'm down to 20 thousandths, which results in a 50% increase in the period of oscillation because it's the squared of the radius of the wire.
Okay.
And so I have a new wire. Everything's all enclosed. And I started collecting data last night and this morning. And I've reconfirmed that it's still very sensitive to the change in ambient temperature. And this time of day is the best time of the day because it's the most stable temperature and there's the least oscillation. So I'll show you what it looks like now. Here's my new setup with the laser, which is the ideal thing about it is that it's totally stationary. I don't have to touch it to turn it on and off. And here is the mark. And you're making it move.
Look at that.
So one of the interesting things I've discovered is that as the day goes on, this moves. Early in the morning it was down here, and as the day has gone on, it has moved up. And I believe that's because the deck, or else the apparatus that holds the laser, in some way is moving with temperature. And I've noticed this over the last couple days that early in the morning it's here and goes up this way, and about an hour, 2 hours ago it was here. Now it's starting to come back down. Tomorrow morning it'll be down around here. But the more interesting thing is that this morning
It moves when your feet are on it.
Yeah.
So it's moving right now because I'm here too.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah. Anyway, this morning it was oscillating like this. And as the day warmed up, at about 9 o'clock it was oscillating like this. And about 10 o'clock it was oscillating like this. That much. Now it's barely oscillating. And the other troubling thing about it is that the midpoint of oscillation in the morning is like there. As the day goes on, it moves this way.
Okay, so there's going to be this hysteresis loop that you can follow throughout the day that you should track. And you can track it with something like a time-lapse camera.
Yeah, if I had a time-lapse camera.
I have one. You can borrow it. It's here. Just got to get back to me someday.
Well, this guy that I told you that I contacted a guy and his son who've been working on this. The son wants to do a video capture, and I think that's what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I may just be able to get him to do it.
Okay.
It is annoying. I spent an hour and a half out here tracking this thing. So here's all my data at different times. Started at 8:55 this morning through 10:11.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at the midpoint and see it's 18, 18, 21, 22, 21, 22, 22, 21, 19, 18, 22. It's moving all around.
Mm-hmm.
And the left side and the right side points are moving as well. I also found that the period changed. While it's doing this accelerated oscillation, the period shortened.
Okay.
I believe the period's back now to. I'd have to track it again now, but last night I checked and it was 6 minutes and 6 seconds. When the heavy oscillation was going on this morning, it got down to about 5 minutes and 40 seconds, which is a big change.
Mm-hmm.
And the period's one of the key ingredients in the formula. So, what I have to do now that I know late afternoon, early evening is the best time, I have to set it up so that I take measurements then, shift the weights, and then wait a day and try to take measurements at about the same time and the same ambient temperature. I have a thermometer that's inside the box that's it's the outside temperature on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I use this to gauge what the temperature is inside the box, and ideally, you want to have the same temperature.
You lost your batteries. We'll fix it later.
So that's where I am with it now. The last best measurement I had was 4.5 times the correct number. It's still pretty poor.
Hmm.
Although I talked to a guy who's a professor, who's an advisor to the company that makes the apparatus for school, university labs, and I told him my troubles, and he knew everything I was up against. He said that the temperature would definitely be a variable. He told me I should isolate it from the building, which I've already done. So it's independently suspended from apparatus that sits on the floor and is not connected to the building.
Should we go inside or no? And look at this?
You can go inside, sure.
I want you to explain the inside.
Okay.
Looks very different from last time I was here.
Okay. So the apparatus is entirely encased in this box now. This is a transparent plastic window.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one at the other end. I'm using 13-pound weight, which is not ideal. It should be a sphere. I just don't have spheres right now. But this is all enclosed. There's a mirror that's mounted on the wire that hangs two weights. There's a weight on the left end and a weight on the right end that acts like a pendulum. And this is at the peak of the triangle, and it's supported from a wire that runs up through this tube and is hooked on to the beam up there. And the purpose of this casing is, again, to try to isolate the wire from interference of temperature change and any wind that might be affecting it. What I do in the middle of the day is I open this up to try to get it warmed up. The sooner I get it warmed up to ambient temperature, the sooner it stops oscillating. But now it's stable. And let's see.
What's that little buttress for?
Well, I try to get the box as perpendicular to the window as I can so that everything is square here.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that to keep the box vertical. and to help get the spacing right. Can
Okay.
you see the light?
I can.
Can you see the laser up on the target?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I am right now.
In a garage with a bunch of stuff hanging from the ceiling.
Right. Now, I did have 12-pound shot put spheres a couple of weeks ago that I borrowed from the local high school.
Gun High School, Dad.
Gun High School.
Yep.
And I kind of calibrated these pulleys so that I can now use the pulleys as a substitute for a sphere until I get some really big, good spheres. Or I can borrow the spheres from the track team for the summer, I'm hoping.
That would be nice. Remember the name of the guy?
It'll come to me. It's been there a long time. That's enough.
Okay. That was cool.
Yeah.
Cavendish experiment. How long have you been working on it?
A year and 2 months. I think Cavendish got his solved in less than a year, and I'm still working at it.
All right, we'll get there.
Okay, did you turn it off?